Okay, what's up, YouTubers? This is your guy, Mr. Evaluator again. And today, for my fellow subscribers, we have a amazing new video today. Okay, so pretty much we got one of the heaviest and hardest hitters in the Marvel DC universe. So I just took some time to kind of scroll through the list, look at everybody's power and abilities, and kind of compare and contrast from another. So today, guys, we're going to have a big handed of people getting one shotted today. Okay, a big hand of people getting one shot. Okay, so in this case, we're gonna start off with Bizarro and Raven. Okay, so we've already went over what is Raven actually capable of. Okay, she has the power to balance darkness. Okay, and being more powerful than her father, she can literally rip the power out of you. Like, as I said from before in the beginning, she could basically absorb the power in Superman and have all of his powers and his abilities, without even being affected with kryptonite. Not necessarily meaning that she could be Kryptonian. No, she could replicate all of his powers and the abilities he has with enhancing them on top of her powers. Like, she's clearly OP. And so with the case of Bizarro being the opposite of Superman, like, especially with her seeking vengeance, well, this is just going to be a different story, but he used the full percent of what Superman holds back on, so this would seriously be much of a challenge. But in that case, just for the sake of the conversation, with Bizarro possibly killing Hell and killing Trigon, and she seeks revenge. Well, in this case, we already know that Raven beats Bizarro. I mean, he'll come at her full force, but she can, like, literally get into his mind and just, like, not mentally break him, but just kind of really stop him. Kind of freeze everything about him. Like, she can literally get inside your head and freeze your reality. You know, well, from your perspective, wow, she's OP. She can do this with pretty much anybody. Okay, yeah, regardless of their power. Well, not necessarily. She can do this with anybody that's under her, and she's way more powerful than Trigon. And with Trigon absorbing darkness and evil, he becomes the level of that. I said that so many times already. So in this case, with her seeking vengeance, she basically ends Bizarro, and that's the end of the story. And she probably loses control of her power, as she always does, and pretty much just destroying everything. I mean, Raven isn't good with healing people, bringing people back, because I'm not saying that she can't. I won't say that she can't, but as far as destroying things and ripping life out of people, yeah, she could clearly do that. But there's another part of her, what I am actually continuing studying on, that she can actually do as far as heal people or possibly bringing them back. I'm not so sure, but that's why I'm still researching. But in this case, we're gonna put a pin in that one. In this case, Raven stumps Bizarro. Okay, literally, she stumps him. Catwoman versus Red Hood. That's a real pretty amazing good matchup. Pretty much like any other time, Red Hood was really Jason Todd, trained by Batman to the best of the best. Jason Todd has a very vengeful way of actually attacking. In this case, Catwoman would definitely give Captain America a run for his money. I'm not saying as far as physically fighting him hand to hand, but actually getting away from him and taking things and, like, slipping him, man. Like, literally, she's a very sneaky fox. But in this case, Red Hood kills people. And in this case, she's just a masterminded thief. So she probably can get away with a little bit of what she does with Red Hood. But as far as in a physical fight, yeah, he's going to look to kill her. I just kind of can speculate it, if it gets too serious, she's going to wind up running away from him, because he's going to wind up killing her, period. And, then she's going to have to run and go get Batman, because of all the villains of all the villains and people Catwoman has fought and faced, she never took them uh as serious. She basically took them like a game, as good as she was. But to the opponents and people she actually do take serious, she really has no intention of fighting. Instead, but actually running away from them. So in this case and scenario, Red Hood wins because Selena Kyle is not taking no chances to literally fight this guy unless she's going to fight him to the age of her life. Unless she's trying to protect something or someone. She's going to fight to the last of her breath, but of course, in this case, she severely scars this guy up. Okay? Very severely because she's serious with him. Protecting someone, in the case of protecting someone like her daughter or, Batman when he's severely injured. So in this case, she pretty much runs away, having nothing to protect, nothing to fight. So in this case, this guy really is. It goes straight to Red Hood because he's gonna be he's out to kill her, okay, and Catwoman doesn't look to fight unless it's something she's actually trying to protect or something she's worth fighting. Okie dokie. Next battle: Superman 1 million versus Silver Surfer. This is a good joke. Okay, so for those of you who don't understand Superman, I'm just gonna basically tell you that the reason why they call this Superman 1 million because Superman himself has obtained the strength of 1 million times his power and strength. I mean, it'll be severely dangerous if Bizarro got to that level, because then Bizarro will be beyond the conception of clearly destroying the idea of things himself with that level of power, and he'd be clearly dangerous at that point. Um, but yeah, Superman 1 million stumped Silver Surfer because again, he can actually Superman is super on every level imagine. Okay, and I mean, well, the fact because Trigon is power is immeasurable. He met Superman any day, but in this version, Superman doesn't have any dark thoughts or darkness or any sense of evil in his heart, but Trigon can still overpower him with no pressure whatsoever. Doesn't matter how powerful he is or how powerful he's set in the sun. Like I just said, he can absorb the amount of darkness and literally become that power. So he can literally replicate 1 million or 1 billion Trigons and emerge that power with himself. He's beaten Superman multiple times, but in this case, he's fighting Superman. Prime 1 million is fighting Silver Surfer. So he is 1 million times Silver Surfer's speed, agility, telepathy, everything. And again, with Superman holding his powers back, he's not literally using, the full potential of his power. Seriously, he's not. One big hit. He just basically one-shot Silver Surfer without even trying. I mean, because Silver Surfer, wow, I mean, can travel through different galaxies, universes in a split second. But as far as his fight speed, no. It is fast, but Superman is faster than that. You know, uh, this this Superman at 1 million means that Superman himself, as I concluded from the very, very beginning of Superman's ultimate power, his full potential goes throughout the entire universe. The number of suns is equal to Superman. So if Superman has one sun, he can bench press the power and the strength of the entire universe. Okay? So his power is limited to throughout the universe until you give him a second sun, which will be a second Superman. So that Superman will be equal to two universes, bench pressing two universes, and that is clearly powerful. Like that's his full potential. But again, Superman is super on every level and can clearly um, increase his powers. Now, Superman sat in the middle of the sun and kind of overcharged himself and literally equaled the power. He basically created another sun in him. So that's how he pretty much became Superman 1 million, because he equaled himself to the sun. Like literally. So he basically got over 1 million suns, 1 million Superman, and escalating that power. He is beyond the idea of conception, reality, time, space itself. But, they kind of debunked a lot of comics with him creating his own universe and people helping him bring back from the dead. But in this case, a scenario, Superman has all sorts of powers, but on every level of his speed, agility, and pretty much everything. He has hyper speed. He has everything. So in this case, he stomps Silver Surfer. He stomps him without even literally even trying. Okay, so yeah, he just stomps this guy, one shots him. Okay, so now we have Supergirl versus Psylocke. Actually, I thought this was Loki, but come to be, this is a girl that basically wields telepathy and telekinesis. She's very powerful, but again, as I explained with Superman, Supergirl is way stronger than Superman, okay? Considering the fact that that's his older cousin. So when she got frozen through, space, she finally came back to Earth, she was way more powerful than he is. So just imagine that because of the age she's a lot stronger, way more stronger because of the age. And in this case, of the scenario, um, Supergirl stomps her because Supergirl, Superman could be telepathic, which he really is, and literally she can be super on every level. But she does have a hard time trying to cope with her powers, what she understands, and how she uses it. And so, if it's necessary, she would use the full potential of her power. So, in that case, she'd probably wipe Bizarro out as well, or literally be equal to him. Or because being the opposite of Superman, with her using her full potential, they probably crash and just break the entire universe. But, she'd increase a lot more power than he does, and so she pretty much stumps him. So, in this case of scenario, Kara does hold a lot back when fighting most of her opponents, but this girl who pretty much has the power to fry people's brain, she will literally escalate her powers to light speed, and without even noticing, she'll one-shot this girl. In actuality, Supergirl will one-shot this girl, okay? Because she can understand telepath, she can understand magic, she pretty much could do anything. So if Superman or Supergirl was to ever practice magic, they can clearly, with their well-being, take it to the next level. So if he's going to hit you with fire, just imagine them throwing super fire at you. Yeah, this is clearly powerful. And that would just be too powerful for this girl because, like, she hasn't handled that type of Kryptonian magic. Kryptonians can actually do magic. They have advanced technology, way superior than any others, which explains Brainiac's desperate need for going to different planets and basically taking a portion of what he wants. But if Kryptonians was to ever practice magic, it'll literally will not affect the same level. I don't know why people think it does, but it doesn't, because just imagine that, okay, so you may as well say that my magic has the power to put a hole in the drywall, okay? But Superman using that same magic, clearly, okay, so when you basically wielding magic, magic is just this form of energy. So imagine using your energy to its potential, like bust a hole in the drywall. So Superman energy in his body is a lot higher than the average human being. So if he was going to use super magic, it'll literally affect that person a lot more than regular magic. And this puts her in a bowl. Superman is not known to doing any, levitating. Well, in this case, moving objects with his eyes and stuff. But if he does, ever trained to do that, to be telekinetic. I'm pretty sure, I'm not sure, I have to do some more research, but in this case, Supergirl stomps this girl because she could basically will magic on every, super magic on every level. She is super to the fullest potential. So in this case, this girl gets stomped by Supergirl. Brainiac versus Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern. Okay, so we've seen this several times. Green Lantern has will. He's basically had the power to manifest will itself. And clearly, Brainiac doesn't understand will, nor he doesn't choose to kind of cooperate in it. So it really makes Brainiac way more powerful than anybody of the Justice League. Okay, because he is literally beyond the idea of intellect and the concept of intelligence. So he has a so it literally becomes an option to whether to accept this will power or not. And like emotions don't even inflatorate Brainiac. And Brainiac is way more smarter than Ultron. Emotions, Brainiac chooses what he wants due to the level of intelligence. He's even more smarter than Mr. Terrific. Brainiac is the most smartest villain in a whole universe, in a whole DC universe. In fact, he's the most smartest in the entire multiverse. I mean, you wouldn't ever think of anybody outdoing Brainiac because Brainiac is just on so many levels of intelligence. He's literally beyond the idea of intelligence itself. If Brainiac was to ever use his mass amount of intellect, he pretty much destroyed the entire universe, okay, without anybody stopping him. Because clearly, Brainiac is way OP, alright? Now, as far as Trigon, he's just pretty much a machine. And, Trigon only works on darkness and matter, so I'm pretty sure this is another story to talk about. I'm pretty sure that, Brainiac will pretty much get stumped by Trigon, and he'll pretty much give up because Trigon is the idea of having absolute power. And, like, it'll pretty much put Brainiac to a stance because this is literally arrogant. Like, the act of emotions, the act of emotions and feelings is literally ignorant and arrogant to Brainiac himself. So, with Trigon being absolute power, like, it literally would stop Brainiac because, like, that, having emotions, having feelings, feeling like that you're better than others, clearly puts Brainiac in a hole. Like, it's ignorance to him. Like, this guy is so smart, man. He is perfect. Brainiac is one of the most perfectionist beings in a DC universe. And in this case, fighting Green Lantern and having this manifestation of will itself is just pretty much ignorant to Brainiac. And he really doesn't pay that attention. So he fights his way around Hal Jordan and kind of clearly locks him in a trap until Hal Jordan kind of increase the amount of his willpower because the ring has infinite amount of power. Brainiac will figure a way to dismantle that ring from Hal Jordan, even cutting his hands off. But if he was now since he's manifested with will, it pretty much becomes ignorance to Brainiac, and he just get rid of Hal Jordan. Like, in this case, he sets up a diversion with Hal Jordan and just gets away because, like Brainiac does not tolerate ignorance in any form or any fashion or in any way. Okay, so it's like a little mosquito, a bug to him, like that constantly bothers him. Okay, so in this case, his fight is going to Green Lantern. But if he was not the manifestation of will itself, Brainiac will literally cut the ring off of him. Like, the way that he works is beyond how Batman strategizes. And, like, in this case, like, he's like the mind, like I told you, he's beyond the idea of intelligence. So I mean, like he wouldn't even need to use strategies to take him down. Like he basically, kind of set a diversion and just kind of cut him off. In this situation, just to get rid of him. But if he's not the manifestation, like Guy Gardner, if he's not Will himself, then he pretty much, you know, not figures a way. Brainiac doesn't figure, he knows a way. So he pretty much just dismantled the ring from Guy Gardner and pretty much ending him with a diversion. But being manifestation of Will itself kind of annoys and becomes a nuisance to him. So he pretty much sets up a diversion and just get rid of Green Lantern, and just run away from him. So in this match definitely goes to Green Lantern because he has the power to, he's the manifestation of Will itself. Okay. And under that conclusion, without him being this, pretty much like at Gardner, Brainiac beats him. But being Will, the manifestation of Will itself, he kind of really, Brainiac just runs away from him. And so this match goes to Green Lantern, Hal Jordan. Okay, now Dark Phoenix versus Zatanna. Now, if Zatanna wasn't trained or strategized by Batman, she'd probably whip up a spell to kind of really, cast Dark Phoenix in the hat. But how powerful Dark Phoenix is, she has the power to erase matter and everything in existence, including authors and stuff like that. Like, she's really powerful. But, pretty much like Lobo, death doesn't exist. So she could probably erase Lobo, but he could probably come back in another reality, because, in his realm, like death or erasing people from existence doesn't pretty much even exist in that category. But in this case, Zatanna is pretty much fighting this girl. So Dark Phoenix will take the win. She will beat Zatanna. Because if Zatanna wasn't trained by Batman, and pretty much she's gonna throw it at her all. Okay? So then that fight would definitely go to Dark Phoenix. But Zatanna was trained by Batman. She also learned not using her full potential against other foes without understanding their capabilities. So in this case, she's going to take some little card tricks and throw some easy blows at her. Okay? And Dark Phoenix is just going to simply wipe that away like it ain't nothing. So she's just doing these things to Dark Phoenix because she wants to know her potential. She wants to know what type of power she wields. And once she throws enough at Dark Phoenix and she gets the idea of how her power works, then she will whip up a spell to pretty much silence Dark Phoenix's power, because still she's a mutant that has the power to erase reality. So once she gets the idea of how her power works, pretty much Zatanna silences her with a spell. And then she runs up to her and beat her. So, I mean, Dark Phoenix can erase other authors and reality itself, but for some reason she can't erase magic. She can't erase magic, because magic is like another form of, what she is. Because it has, like, magic has its own conception of reality. Manipulation, time warping, uh, uh, what's another thing? 5D, possibly even being a fourth wall breaker. All of this like clearly concerns magic. So when you wield magic, you can pretty much do anything you want. Omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. So in this case, Dark Phoenix possibly could erase, but no, because magic is clearly omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. So she wouldn't erase magic. She can erase the being possessing of magic, but she couldn't erase the power itself. So in this case, Zatanna puts a spell on her to silence her powers and then runs up to her and finally knock her out. So in this case, because of the sake of training with Batman and understanding her foes, and yeah, because of Batman's training, Zatanna beats Dark Phoenix. Yeah, she definitely beats her. But without Batman's training, yeah, Dark Phoenix basically erases this girl. But she kind of does being prepared. So like, even if she was gonna fight this girl, she like Zatanna always do that. She always put a spell over herself. Always do that. Like before she goes out and even fighting the strongest foe, she's always put a spell over herself. So in this case, she will access a large amount of power, and even with Phoenix erasing everything. How I told you that she couldn't erase magic because magic has its own conception of reality and time and everything. So basically, she can really become the transcendence of magic herself. So like, uh, Zatanna can literally become the magic herself, and like, I mean, Dark Phoenix is done. And then in this case, this will be without training with Batman. But training with Batman, she kind of beats her by silencing her magic. But if Dark Phoenix was to pretty much erase her, like I just told you, I mean, we wouldn't know what type of spell she put over herself. So more than likely, it'll be a death spell. So in this case, with Dark Phoenix being erasing Zatanna, which is pretty much she didn't kill her, she just erased her. So that'll kind of be pretty hard. So in this case, death would pretty much be considered to erase from existence because she wasn't shot in the heart. She was just, her whole well-being was just erased. So with that being said, like, it's kind of pretty hard to understand what happened, but every day anytime she fights anybody, she puts a spell over herself. And in this case, she kind of, like, let's just say it was a death spell to pretty much protect her. But like, she'd only erase Zatanna, and Zatanna having that spell possibly will bring her back. No. Actually, she always puts a spell over her to every enemy she fights. So with Dark Phoenix erasing her with that spell she used to protect her with, will pretty much erase. Well, not the spell because it's magic, and so it's kind of hard. Okay, so I'm just gonna put it like this. I'm sorry about that, guys. Because of training with Batman, she beats Dark Phoenix. Dark Phoenix, in this case, doesn't stand a chance as long as she was trained by Batman. But if she wasn't trained by Batman, she was gonna give it her all. And giving it her all, she pretty much by at that time be erased by Dark Phoenix. And being erased by Dark Phoenix will pretty much create a will pretty much have nothing else to happen unless Zatanna must have put a spell over her that pretty much made, you know, that pretty much created the power that in case something does happen, this magic basically brings her back, and then she used the full potential of her power to become the magic itself. And so, without her erasing the magic, she pretty much reverses that, and yeah, destroys Dark Phoenix. Well, actually, yeah, pretty much. So if anything happens to her, the spell that she put on her will possibly happen to Dark Phoenix as well. So yeah, so in this case, Zatanna wins even without being trained with Batman because she also prepares herself. But in this case, if she never did put a spell over herself, to protect her from certain people, foes, without doing that, then, Dark Phoenix pretty much takes the win. But in this case, Zatanna beats her. Okay? So, we're going to be going to the next battle. Wow, that was a lot. Okay. Alright. We are doing Dr. Fate versus Odin. Okay, so in this case, Dr. Fate doesn't fight anybody. Okay, unless there is balance. There's an unequal balance in the DC universe. So, let's just, for the sake of the conversation, he just meant Odin. Okay? And he was trying to balance the MCU. So in this case, Odin does have an immense amount of power. Okay, and Dr. Fate is one of the most powerfulest beings. I'm sorry about that. The most powerfulest beings in the in the DC universe, as far as being the greatest majestical wielders throughout the DC universe. And Odin is one of the most powerfulest and greatest uh well, he would just be one of the most, because he also fought the Senators and gave a reason to beat them because they were above Marvel and, the content of Marvel and all. But in this case, Odin cannot make his own. Like, when he forged, he the hammer had to be made from a dying star. So Odin himself didn't make that hammer. That hammer had to be created, from somebody else with, Odin's magic sealed in it. Okay? Odin does have very powerful magic, but it's no powerful than Dr. Fate. And pretty much Dr. Fate can basically balance out, I can assume. Well, literally at Dr. Fate's full potential, the whole concept of his power is for him to pretty much balance magic. And if magic is already balanced, it'll literally be out of order for him not to, pretty much unbalance the magic. So in this case, if Odin only picked those who are worthy for Thor's hammer, literally for his magic are accepted, and those who are not worthy, who fought with battle, he literally balance his power only for those who are not only fit to fight, Thor, but those who are willingly to challenge Thor shall be worthy of, the magic as well. Well, in this case, just forget it, I said that, but in this case, Dr. Fate is literally too powerful for Odin, but I think they are at the same level. Comment below if you think otherwise. But in this case, we're sticking with the common basis. Odin has a lot of immense amount of power throughout all the MCU. But the thing is, he cannot combine his magics with other people's magic and pretty much use it against one opponent. Only if everybody did some type of spell or some ritual and, stuff like that. But Dr. Fate doesn't need he doesn't need to do any of that. He could just basically snap his thumb and possess the power of every magic throughout the DC universe, and pretty much coming to Marvel, the magical wielders, he could literally sense the power level and how much magic that person uses and how much magic, prowess is inside the person who pretty much wields the magic. He could literally read that in them and clearly balance that if he wanted to. He has a lot of amazing feats, but in this case, this fight is definitely going to Dr. Fate because, like, this guy's clearly OP. He's more powerful than Odin himself. And if he was to give Thor a hammer, that hammer would be way more powerful and way more stronger. So Dr. Fate's magic will take more effect on people than on Thor's greatest foes than Odin's magic ever would. So pretty much Odin just has this powerful magic, but it isn't strong enough to, like, literally fight other, people, other strong opponents. So in this case, pretty much like Hela, because she squeezed the life out of the hammer. If that was Dr. Fate's power, being linked to death, that wouldn't have happened with Dr. Fate's magic, because his magic would not, will have no bounds to death. Okay, no limits to death. So in this case, because of the sake of magic prowess, Dr. Fate takes this home. Now, Typhoon is literally the father of all monsters. I haven't read anything about this, but monsters mean that there's darkness, there's evil, and as I told you from the beginning, Trigon stomps him just by absorbing all the darkness and evil out of him. And all those monsters he'll steal from him, well, don't steal. He'll literally bound these monsters to hell, and they all will serve Trigon. So yeah, he one shot this guy. He literally one shots this guy. The Flash versus the Cheetah is pretty much a joke. Flash beats Cheetah because in actuality, Flash is literally too fast. Like him standing and waiting in line is like he could just be waiting 5 seconds. To us, it'll literally be like 5 seconds. But to Flash, it'll feel like 5 years because he's that fast. 5 years would have been uncanny by. That's why he's always running and always talking fast. He's always, kind of paceful at, stuff. So in this case, the scenario, Flash should literally beat Cheetah. Cheetah just has all the abilities of an actual cheetah and all of this stuff. So usually whenever Flash could basically beat his opponents, all of his enemies in the snap of a thumb, but he chooses not to because pretty much he just toy around with all of them, like just to give him something to do. Because I just told you, if he's sitting around doing nothing, in his eyes, 10 years be done fell by. Okay, 10 years be done flew by, and like 10 seconds of him sitting down will be like freaking 10 years, man. So, in this case, the scenario, he literally actually lets his opponents fight him and beat him, okay? Like, literally get with him because, like, he don't want to sit around and, like, as time flies, he's sitting there for 50,000 years, man. Like, no, Flash has to consistently be active, okay? So in this case, the scenario, this fight is literally gonna go to Flash because like he's too fast, okay? And he just only don't do that with the villains, other villains to beat him so he can buy his time. The only person he actually does get serious with is Reverse Flash. Like, because Reverse Flash and Flash is the fastest man alive as far as the DC universe. But what's his name? Reverse Flash is just as fast as he is. So like that's the only person he actually gets serious with, which was actually explained in one of the Flashpoint paradox, where he said your opponents lack the power to literally kill you. And that's clearly because he's buying time with Mirror Man. Mirror Man isn't all that good. Because Flash can actually run through time. Like, seriously. Like, he could literally beat all of his opponents at one time. But he chooses not to because if he's not doing nothing, then 20 years be done flow by to him. And it's just unbelievable. But in this case, this fight goes to Flash because in actuality, he is the fastest guy alive. The only person he gets serious with is Reverse Flash. So in this case, the fight goes to Flash. Captain Marvel versus Estrogen. Okay. Captain Marvel can absorb energy. She can absorb Hell's energy and pretty much possibly become a demon herself, but pretty much like Trigon would absorb that out of her and become the power she has. So in this case, Estrogen is a demon too. In fact, he is a immortal demon and he has the power to literally like understand the way the fight and battle is going. So if you're basically boxing him, he'll understand the first 5 punches you give him, he'll counter that. So he's like another version of, I don't know how to say it, but in this case, yeah, he's like another version of, Batman, but, a dark demon. But anyways, Captain Marvel can absorb energy, but the immortality Estrogen has, like, it literally puts him above Captain Marvel. Because if Captain Marvel, like, she's clearly OP, but if Captain Marvel does fight Estrogen, like, it'll be a very long time, dude. It'll be a very long time. before she, possibly beats Estrogen, because he has instant regeneration. He doesn't get tired, but if he does get tired, it'll possibly be in the next 10 years or 20 years or so. And at this rate, as far as his speed goes, he does have superhuman speed. Well, literally, he's above superhuman, in this case. So, like, he will literally give Captain Marvel a run for her money, in this case. Well, in this case, overall, Estrogen would literally beat Captain Marvel. He would literally beat Captain Marvel. I mean, because they say she do get tired, she do get fatigued, you know, and stuff like that. But if she didn't, this would be a long fight. Okay, it'll literally be a long fight. Um, Estrogen can also cast spells on her, which can also literally limit her powers if she was limitless. So in this case, like, wow, man, like this energy, she absorbs energy. He could basically even kind of replicate what she does, with all of his rhyming and his words. It's multiple things that he could do. Like, she could try to one shot him, he wouldn't do nothing but get back up. So she can hit him on a universal scale with a punch. She'll probably knock him out, and after a while, he'll get right back up. The point in this battle is to kind of really hit somebody hard enough where they won't get back up. So if she do hit him, he's going to be out for a while, and he's going to get back up and look for her again. Just to probably try to talk to her, saying that you can't beat me, so blah, blah, blah. You gave me a good match, so, I'm just going to leave it at that. But all fair come to fair, if we ever go to toe-to-toe again, you're not going to beat me. So in this case, because of him being an immeasurable, being an immeasurable demon with a limitless amount of powers and things that he can actually do, he basically beats. I know he gets summoned by the wizards, and the wizards can have the power and the spell to send him back, but it doesn't mean that those wizards are stronger than Estrogen. Because once Estrogen gets those, some spells are hidden from Estrogen, but once he uncovers those spells, he can literally come back whenever he wants to and go back whenever he wants to. So in this case, Estrogen really beats Captain Marvel. She really doesn't stand a chance against him. Um, be like her fighting Trigon without, the proper tools or whatnot to literally, well, actually, just literally fighting Trigon with nothing. But I told you what he could do. He could just absorb the dark matter and become. He's already beyond that. But in this case, this fight goes to Estrogen. Now, Batman versus Nightwing and Robin. Batman has trained Nightwing and Robin. Okay, in that case, and they kind of do got their own ideas. But in this case, Batman to beat Batman to beat. They wouldn't fight. Okay, let's just say they're training. Batman will literally like outdo Robin and Nightwing. Okay, Robin wanted to go solo, Nightwing wanted to go solo, but even fighting together against other opponents, they are not as good as Batman is. Okay, no one would ever be as good as Batman is, and even if they will always pick their own way of fighting. Okay, do the things they understand and not do the things how Batman. That's why Batman, if Batman tries to train Nightwing to fight like him, Nightwing will get the concept of that idea and use his own way, pretty much like Robin. And so that's why it'd be a lot hard for Batman to, because these guys are clearly impatient and they're not as focused and concentrated as Batman is unless they literally have to be. Okay, so that explains why when Batman kind of gets cornered, sometimes like they pop out of nowhere, unexpected at the right time, and like it really kind of does aggravate Batman and even mostly upsets him. Like, I've trained you guys and you want to do your own way of fighting, but at the end, when this happens, you use my method. I mean, come on. Okay, so in this case, this battle is like literally a training match. So Batman comes out on top with Nightwing and Robin. Okay. Next match is Supergirl, Unkindness Raven versus Wonder Woman. We all know that Trigon stomped the Justice League with that immense amount of power. And what type of power Raven has, she will break Wonder Woman in half, even if she prays to Hera to give her the strength of the universe. Like, Raven will literally is OP and more powerful than the gods. Like, Hera and them. Like, yeah, she'll beat Wonder Woman. So in that case, Raven beats Wonder Woman. We have Supergirl, uh, Red Lantern, and Cheetah. I'm not sure, but I'm just gonna read it in the context. Supergirl, Red Lantern, and Cheetah with Darkseid and Dr. Manhattan. So let's just say all four of these guys fighting. Supergirl is powered on vengeance, and in this case, she's using the full potential of her power. She kills Cheetah. Then we have wow. Then we have Dr. Manhattan and Superman Prime 1,000,000. He basically is 1,000,000 times the power of the universe. So that means Superman Prime 1,000,000 can literally pick up 1,000,000 universes without even trying. Okay, well, to his max, he press lifts 1,000,000 universes. Okay, that's pretty strong. Dr. Manhattan has an immense amount of power. He can really literally walk on the surface of the sun. But in this case, like, he can basically rewind time, but Prime 1,000,000 doesn't need any time affections. So he'll kind of clearly stump Dr. Manhattan. But in Darkseid True Form pretty much stumps Dr. Manhattan, kills Supergirl, stumps Cheetah. Clearly LaFreeze, the Orange Lantern is powered by power itself. And that's pretty powerful. And in this case, this power is like, it literally said the fear of other people kind of really, of him not winning the fight, kind of really overpowers him. So yeah, in that case, it just only leaves, Prime 1,000,000 and True Darkseid to fight. And like, literally, Prime 1,000,000 will give Prime 1,000,000 a run for his money, because they also have in this version, the opposite of Prime 1,000,000. They got the Prime 1,000,000 Darkseid, and literally these two will go at it. So True Darkseid is universal. Well, I say 2.5 universes. He's like universal, and like he's 2.5 universal. So that means he'll hold the strength of the universe like a lot more. Well, yeah, he'll hold the strength of the universe a lot more. But it's kind of, well, actually, Superman's full power reaches to the universal level. So Darkseid is equal to Superman at that. So in this case, in his true form, being a literal god, he basically give Prime 1,000,000 to run for his money. And at this case, they both fight till they end humanity, and they just don't ever destroy each other. They're like literally equal until Superman comes up with some way to sustain Darkseid, because he doesn't ever beat him. He just sustains him. Now, there's a time where Darkseid has gotten beat to Brainiac. In that case of Justice League, Superman pounded him, and he was getting ready to end Darkseid. But in this case, actually, Prime 1,000,000 will stomp True Darkseid. Like, but it will not be no easy fight. And by the time he gets done beating Darkseid, like, Prime 1 Million would literally be torn apart, even at that state. Like, literal. But, like, if it's just ordinary Darkseid, he'll one shot that Darkseid. But Darkseid's true power can literally be equal to Superman at any level of power. So he'd literally go through time and pretty much be equal to Prime 1 Million until it'd be a bloody fight. You know, by the time Superman took out Darkseid, Superman be about dead. So he literally need to go back into the sun. LaFreeze with the Justice League. The Justice League will literally overpower him because he's fighting Aquaman. He's fighting Green Lantern, who is basically will itself, who is bigger than power. He's fighting Wonder Woman, including Batman, and he's literally fighting, you know, all of the Justice League members. He's even fighting Flash, who runs faster than the speed of light. And he doesn't need the ring at that sort, but like at the Justice League true power at their full potential, they will stomp LaFreeze because altogether, Batman's strategies, the way Superman's fight, Flash's speed, Wonder Woman's agility to increase her power to the strength of the universe, like literally all of them will be hitting him on a scale, on a universal scale. And like that, even if he did have the power of the members he absorbed, like if the Justice League ever scaled to hitting him on a universal, like it'll literally do him some damage. And whenever he feel like that they're looking a bit overpowered, they'll stomp him. Literally. So in this case, this fight, I mean, I could say that LaFreeze beats them because he has a power ring, but so basically, for those who don't understand the Orange Lanterns, the Orange Lanterns is pretty much based on power, and being based on power is like the literal content of the power of that person, like the physical strength of that person. It doesn't have anything to do with will, but the power ring pretty much gives them infinite amount of power, okay, on top of their, natural strength. But in this case, the Justice League does having infinite power. The Cosmos, the Green Lantern has infinite power, but it's based on Hal Jordan's will. So clearly, in this sense, being part of the Justice League, if he has the will to stomp, if he believes and have the will to literally stomp LaFreeze himself, he definitely would, and there will be not a single strength, you know, even to a universal scale, a multiversal scale, would stop Green Lantern. Because, as shown, the Green Lanterns are clearly the most powerfulest lanterns throughout the entire DC universe. Because Will is stronger than anything in the universe. So in this case, with the Justice League and Green Lantern himself, they stomp LaFreeze. Okay? Now we got Barbados versus Minxie. Minxie could pretty much destroy an entire macroverse with a single thought. Okay, he's pretty much even 5D. But in the comics, it said he was stumped by Darkseid. Well, not thumped by Darkseid, Doomsday. And he woke up in another reality, and the reality sent him back. So you can kill Minxie, but you have to be real, but you have to be real quick, man. Like, you're gonna have to go beyond the idea of conception itself, the idea of macro versus level. You have to go beyond the idea because Minxie is 5D, okay, and he's pretty much imagination. So in order for anybody to beat Minx, and well, of course, Trigon can because he's beyond imagination. He was made to actually created to fight the beliefs of humanity. And at this case, Mixie really would not ever stand no chance of beating Trigon. But as far as Barbados, he's going to have to go beyond the conception of literal, he's going to have to go way beyond the conception of imagination if he's gonna beat him. So in this case, this battle was going straight to Minxie. Okay? Literally. It's going straight to Minxie. Now we have Trigon with a billion planets versus, Darkness Absorb at his full power versus Perputa, if I don't mean to butcher her name like that, but Perputa is basically this girl that can form universes together and create new life with new powers. Again, um, with him fighting at that level of darkness, I mean, I just said that he's literally beyond the idea of darkness and evil. He's beyond that conception. And so, with her having this amounts of power, is literally a joke to Trigon. This is like a literal joke. This is like a palm to Trigon. Something he could use to possibly soldier with, to kind of take over other universes. So in this case, because of that capability, again, Trigon destroys this girl, and he really doesn't even need that many number of planets that has darkness because he is the idea of darkness himself. And being the idea of darkness himself, he is beyond that idea of darkness itself based on his capability. So, and he's immortal on top of that. So, in this case, he destroys Perputa, just by absorbing all that power she has and using it against her. Now, so that fight goes to Darkseid. At his full power, he basically even like drains her dry. Okay, like he kills her, like literally, and he destroys all the universes she formed together. So yeah, Darkseid, well, Trigon's something else. Okay, so now we have Steppenwolf versus Ares. Ares is basically on conflict. Okay, he basically gets his power off of conflict. Like all over the world, there has to be people fighting and stabbing and killing each other. That is kind of beyond. That is kind of amazing. But Trigon has darkness, so that conflict basically gives him power, but the intention of evil and darkness itself makes Trigon even stronger. So yeah, he beat Ares, but like Steppenwolf is pretty much the brother of Darkseid, and he's not even much of a fighter. Okay, he basically fought Superman in one of the Unlimited movies, Justice League Unlimited. Even in actually Justice League Action, when Superman did not have no son, and like literally Superman beat him without his powers. So like Steppenwolf can clearly be killed. But if this guy was talking about the DCEU Steppenwolf against Ares, like literally Ares would destroy him because he's based on conflict and he is literally a god of conflict. So he'll just snap his fingers to influence conflict across the entire universe. And if there's conflict across the entire universe, then his scale of the power is universal. So, like, but would he be equal to Trigon? Well, Trigon can absorb darkness. So, conflict has evil and it has darkness. So, just because you're fighting, it makes him even more stronger. So, in this case, Trigon is way ahead of Ares. But, like Steppenwolf is just a brother of Darkseid. In this case, Ares can snap his finger, conflict all in the universe. He's that level of power. He's universal scale. So in this case, Ares destroys Steppenwolf. Now, as far as outside of creation, I mean, he isn't too good. Ares wouldn't be too good because he is in the concept of conflict. He's not above it, he's within the concept of the conflict. Unless they give him a new capability. But in this case, being the within the concept of conflict, he destroys Steppenwolf. Slade Wilson versus Ra's al Ghul. In this case, Ra's al Ghul has lived for centuries, right? And he has even deemed that Batman is a worthy foe. Sometimes Batman, when he does fight, do kind of let loose and allow Slade to beat him. Uh, but these guys were beating each other back and forth. Slade also has his own way of fighting, and his methods is clearly equal to Batman, but not as good. So sometimes if he catches Batman off guard, that's when he attacks him and possibly even beats him. But in this case, Slade Wilson does not stand a chance fighting Ra's al Ghul. I mean, because the fact is, Slade will he's only Ra's al Ghul deemed Batman worthy of fighting him because of the fighting methods. And even if Slade Wilson does from beating Batman multiple times and Batman beating him, has shown that they've learned from each other's fighting styles. So if Slade Wilson was to ever learn how Ra's al Ghul's fight, how his fighting methods is, basically he's like a mirror guy. So if you come at him with Wing Chun, he's gonna hit you with the opposite of what Wing Chun is. So it kind of really clearly puzzles him. But once Slade Wilson gets a hold of this, then he winds up giving Ra's al Ghul an attempt to literally kind of, give it an attempt to finally be like, okay, so this guy got some little moves, But as far as Ra's al Ghul getting serious, like he beats Slade Wilson. I mean, literally, he beats Deathstroke. In that case, but yeah, in that case. So we definitely even got when Ra's al Ghul has gotten serious with Batman. He's like literally deemed that guy worthy because he got serious with him. And when it was time for Batman to get serious, he really gave Ra's al Ghul a run for his money. But see, with Deadpool getting, not Deadpool, when Deathstroke getting serious, actually, I kind of take that back. When Deathstroke actually gets serious with Ra's al Ghul, he too will give him a run for his money. But not as good as Batman would, because Batman is more focused and concentrated on the fight and the methods of the fightings. In the methods of fighting in that battle. But in this case, Slade Wilson is only getting up because he's getting serious because he's using deadly moves just so that he could beat him. In this case, and he's not focused on a fight, so which will probably even distract him and give Ra's al Ghul an advantage to possibly even penalize him and take him out permanently. And in this case, he probably locks him up in a cell and contacts the Batman and to possibly even send him back to Arkham, and he studies ahead of him in case he tries anything, he'll use it against Slade Wilson. So in this case, the first match goes to Ra's al Ghul. But Slade Wilson is going to have an immense amount of power, an immense amount of, tech to really get to Ra's al Ghul. He's going to literally have to fight exactly like Batman and focus more on the fight than just fighting to beat Ra's al Ghul, because to beat him you have to learn and understand how he fights, and you have to focus on the fight and the movement the same time you literally fighting him, because if you fight him to beat him, you lose focus and he pretty much gets you. That's how it is. So Batman always stayed concentrated with the fight even when he got serious, and that's how he came close to really giving Ra's al Ghul, almost clearly beating Ra's al Ghul, giving him a run for his money. So, sick guys, in that case, the fight goes to Ra's al Ghul. In this case, if you guys have any questions, comment, leave it below. This is your guy, Mr. Evaluator. Have any more ideas? Hit them below, man, and we can start the clash. Peace.